I think I have to come to terms with the fact that I'm getting older and my hearing is not what it used to be. And I want to talk a little bit about that, but I've got aspirations to make a post about how I use tuning tools with the equipment that I have. Aside from playing with different components, I like to build speakers and I like to tune them as well. So this is the second set here that I've really been playing with. So the cabinets are original, but the drivers and the crossovers are my design. Well, at least you know what I mean. So a way that I've tuned all of that is with tools available. So there's a sound analyzer. Well, there are a number of sound analyzer apps available on your phone, which are really handy. So I'll do a post about that, about the analyzer that I use, and essentially what you do is you get a tone generator. So I do that through the USB input on the DAC through my computer, and then I play a tone generator, and it plays a tone from 0 to 20 kilohertz at a set volume, and then you get to record that on the analyzer app, and you get to see how close to straight line that curve is, and particularly in your listening position. So it's really handy for tuning speakers. So if you put the mic up to the speaker, you can actually see how well you've tuned it and how good the tonal balance is. But once you move away from that, you move to your listening position, you get to understand where your standing waves are and what the room itself is doing to those speakers. So I'll do that. I'll do a post on that. But I wanted to talk a little bit about my hearing. In my previous life, I used a lot of tools, woodworking tools. A lot of those were electrical, and a lot of those had direct gears. So, for example, a grinder or a drop saw with direct meshing gears, the noise they make is really painful to your ears, and you should absolutely be using ear defenders when you're using power tools of any description. I never did when I was doing that. I didn't really appreciate the gravity of what I was doing and the damage I was doing. Plus, also, I'm a petrol head, so I've had my head in the engine bay of many cars over my years, and I don't think that's helped either. Noticeably, my left ear doesn't hear anywhere near as well as my right ear, and I can tell that very clearly if I'm in bed and I'm listening to a podcast or some music or something. Depending on which side I'm facing will depend on how clear and how loud that sound is. So it's something that I'm very aware of. Also, using that tone generator, you get to find out what you can hear as well, and my audible range is sort of capped at about a little over 1600 kilohertz, but not much. By comparison to my 14-year-old daughter, who can hear everything. When I fiddle with this tone generator, she can it irritates her no end, and she's telling me how much it hurts right up towards the 20 kilohertz range. So what does that mean for me now? And it's quite interesting. So my partner in crime, the guy I do all this stuff with, all of the playing with high-end audio equipment, he's a bit older than me. Would be about 10 years older than me, or even a bit older than that. And for sure, his hearing is nowhere near as good as mine. Interestingly, he is more discerning than I am when it comes to listening to music and describing what he can hear and what he can't hear. And I've always found that fascinating. When I look at a beautiful painting, if it speaks to me and I see if I see something that I really like and something that really speaks to my soul, I can feel that, and I can see this beautiful painting, but I couldn't describe to you why. Whereas many people can. You know, they look at something and go, wow, look at the tonal balance, the brush strokes, the whatever, the texture, and so that sort of very discerning taste is really fascinating for me to see that somebody can describe that so well. Me, not so much. It's been certainly the audiophile journey has been a difficult one for me, because I know when it sounds right, but I couldn't tell you why, or at least it's taken me a long time to understand why. It's been a real challenge to unpack all of that and to identify what it is that I'm hearing and what I'm not hearing. So that's fascinating, and it gives me a little bit of comfort to know that I'm still going to be enjoying the audiophile journey well into my later years, even though my hearing is going to basically get worse from here on in. What it means to me right now, so if I spin you around, when I'm listening to music here, so really the big deal is sound stage, you know, what you can hear and what you can't hear. And for me, when I'm listening to music from this position, this room lends itself well to home hi-fi, and the system itself is set up well enough and resolved well enough to give me a really nice sound stage. It's very clear and very accurate. You get some really good central vocals and some really nice effects, you know, playing, hearing parts of the band playing well off stage, well left and right of the speakers. And certainly my experience of any good hi-fi system is that the speakers themselves essentially become ornaments. You can't hear the sound coming directly from them. You hear everything else around. What does it mean for me with my hearing is that I can very clearly hear a very accurate and delicate soundstage right the way over here. Even further, even sort of getting on for, what is that, sort of I don't know, 160 degrees or something. To my left, so my vocals are still center stage, and I still get to enjoy what's happening in front of me. But to my left, it starts to disappear. I start to lose the delicacy on my left channel. So. And it is really noticeable, and I can tweak that a little bit by just sitting very slightly left of stage, just enough to allow more of those delicate sounds to peer off into the left stage there, but not too much to move the vocals left stage. So that's something that I can, you know, use to mitigate what it is that I'm hearing. But it is definitely and particularly for a well-resolved and accurate system, it becomes more noticeable. And so these days I have to deal with that. I have to deal with the fact that my hearing is not as good as it used to be, and it's affecting the way that I listen to music. So yeah, like I said, it's not going to get any better. It's probably going to get a bit worse. But I'll be interested to hear how other people. I guess I'm not the only person who's got failing hearing. If you've got any suggestions or solutions to how to cope with that or how to augment that, I'll be fascinated to hear your suggestions. Cheers.